Hello and welcome back to Kim Reads as we continue with Son of a Witch. Abroad 2. Candle put down the Domagon to rest. Her fingers were swollen with a long red welt. She had been working hard. The young man, they called him Lear, was it? Breathed shallowly but regularly, and he hadn't twitched a muscle in the hour since Candle had started playing to him. At the sound in the doorway she turned. She expected the superior mount. It was her grouchy kitchen boss, Sister Cook. Someone landed a cushy job or can sit all day, said Sister Cook without real resentment, but she had eyes only for the victim. Hardly nightfall the first day, and all the mounts in the cloister of St. Glinda couldn't curb their curiosity. He's not much to look at, is he? Candle made a soft sound with throat, a kind of purr. A demur? Sister Cook wasn't so sure. She knew Candle to be capable of following instructions, so whatever the girl's limitations were, they didn't include deafness or lack of language understanding. She just didn't speak up, but for her, it was mostly glottal molasses. Sister Cook wrinkled her nose, as if considering the merits of a joint select for the holiday roast. A gauze sheet, nearly transparent, casting lavender shadows on the lad's near-naked form. The coverlet was woven tightly, affording warmth, and was light enough to be whisked away when the medical attention was required. As the evening came in, the blood blisters under the skin on his face looked like medallions of honor, or maybe the sites of those subcutaneous leech colonies. I came to make sure you're all right, said Sister Cook at last, having taken her fill. She turned back to Candle. Here, we must do our part. She pulled from her anchorite pocket a long red frond, fringed with airy asparagus fern stamens. Candle started, and the sound of her throat was nearly a revulsion. Not to worry, it was a willing sacrifice, said Sister Cook. I was alone in the yard mincing the cord onions when the red phoenix appeared again. He was distraught. He had been attacked and wounded by something. He was bleeding from the throat and couldn't speak. Candle shrugged and hit her chest with her hand, turning outward. Sister Doctor and Sister Apothecary hate to administer animal. You know that, said Sister Cook, but it doesn't matter. They couldn't even if directed to. The Sister Monk sent them away after lunch, off on some investigative mission about those Emerald City novices who had their faces scrapped. So what was I to do? Candle reached out and touched the phoenix feather. Sister Cook said, nearly shorn of life, he came back here. He pulled out his axial feather there himself and walked up to me with its beak. Swans sing when they die. Phoenix do too, but he couldn't. So you make music for him, please. Out of respect, we're having phoenix breasts tonight. Sister Cook shoved both her hands in her apron pockets. Phoenix breasts, though I've diced them all and disguised them as chicken fingerlings, so our dear old mother rushed to judgment doesn't have a conniption stroke. Don't forget to come down when you hear the dinner bell. We don't get phoenix around here very often, animal or otherwise. She lingered a moment longer and watched Candle hold the red feather. It was almost 2 feet long and still retained some of its vital elasticity. Well, said Sister Cook, I can't stand here forever. Play a dirge for the phoenix, who never made it to his convention or his class reunion or wherever he was going. He was interested in your playing, I saw. Honor him by accepting his gift. Candle tried to remember what she had seen of the Domagon when it was played by its maker. She had swooned for music or love or both, and in her exhilaration maybe she overlooked an aspect of the instrument's instructions. Maybe it had a phoenix feather, and the master removed it. Phoenix feathers were easy to come by, and a phoenix feather freely given besides. What she might learn to play now. She leaned down and laid the quilt end of the feather against the empty notch at one end of the Domagon's lower soundboard. It settled in perfectly, as if the Domagon had been built to accommodate the exact feather. Then Candle gently coaxed the feather flat. There was a hasp at the sound's far edge, a leather tooth on a sprung hinge that clamped down hard to hold the pinion at the end of the tail feather in one piece. Candle turned to pegs, listening to collaborations of tuning too precise for Sister Cook to appreciate. And Candle flung out both her hands at her Sister Cook. Go, go. I'm grateful to both of you, said Sister Cook. As she descended the stairs, she heard the free-spoon notes of an exquisite instrument being played by an expert. So suddenly it took her back to her school days, when she was a nervous slip of a thing at Madame Tistain's female calm and me, not the cow she'd become, now that she had to steady herself against the wall. She was 13 and suffering her first menses. Coming back from a dawn visit to the cold lavatories on the floor, she spotted a red phoenix on the roof of the master's lodge. The trees had been airy, just budding, struck with first light, and the bird had, like the red cloisonne set in warm stone, a stab of loveliness unmerited, unexpected. It had cheered her then. She continued down the stairs back to the Monterey kitchen, cheered at the long-forgotten thought. Though perhaps she was somewhat happy to anticipate a fine meal that night. That's the end of the Abroad chapter. Thanks for listening. Happy New Year, and see you next year. Bye.